Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Oh boy, yes, it is finally here and I am excited to talk about it. So, Alexander Volkanovski, 26 wins, 4 losses, 2-3, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. On a 2-fight losing streak, minus 150 favorite at 36 years old, 5'6" with a 71.5-inch reach, fighting Diego Lopes, who's 26-6, very decent win streak as well with 5 in a row. Obviously, he's 5-1 in the UFC. First fight in the UFC was Movsar Evloev. Lost that decision, but really showed out in that fight. Kind of, rose his stock and kind of declined Movsar's, to be honest. And Movsar's, he's won, obviously, but he's had moments where it's like, is this guy it? Is he really? Again, I thought Aljamain Sterling beat him in their last matchup. Close fight, awesome fight. For people who always say grappling and all that stuff is not enjoyable, that's a fight you definitely should check out. But either way, Diego Lopes, a plus 125 underdog. 30 years old, 5'11", with a 72.5-inch reach. It's my cat in the background. It's night time, so 5 inches in height for Lopes with a 1-inch reach advantage for Lopes. So, again, we run into this quite often when we're talking about, matchups. I would say Diego Lopes is more explosive than Alexander Volkanovski. I'd say he has more power than Volkanovski. The thing that I think that Volk has, for one, is experience. 2 is I think there's moments where Volkanovski's almost been finished, typically with submissions like the Brian Ortega fight. Max Holloway dropped him with a head kick. Chad Mendes dropped him in their fight. Trying to think of another... Don't think, obviously, the Islam, head kick and finish and all that stuff, but I'm not necessarily talking about that. But with that becomes experience, things to do, things not to do, things to try, things not to try. With Lopes, there isn't necessarily that pullback. Now, as an audience, people that have been able to retroactively rewatch and break down and overanalyze and maybe just analyze in general. Diego Lopes, what's the thing that we've been able to notice as he's continued fighting? Okay, I think it's the Dan Ige fight. I think that was the first one where, let me see, I'm pretty sure that was the first fight where it's like, okay, if he gets past a certain round, there could be a little bit of problems. Let's see. Yeah, because like Tucker, Sabatini, and Yusuf, he beat him handedly, all under 1:40, which in the first round, which is crazy, clearly. And then, Dan Ige won. And then you kind of gave him a pass in that matchup simply because of the fact that it was such a crazy short notice fight for both guys. Whether, Lopes was in a matchup, he was in a training camp, and he had a matchup already, it's still a switch in a completely different style of matchup. So you fight Dan Ige, you look really good the first 2 rounds, and your cardio just completely drains, really, in that 3rd round. You survive, you do it good enough to survive, and you win the fight. Fine. Jesus. And then you fight, what's his name? Brian Ortega, clearly. You fight Brian Ortega, who's a very good grappler, and you hurt him early. The thing that frustrated me in that fight was, I understand you're trying to prove a point, with your grappling skills. I get it. I really do. But you're having so much success with the striking, and the thing that I really think could be an issue for Lopes, especially in this fight, almost more than any other, maybe besides that Topuria fight, but that fight's off the table because it's just not happening. He's not here anymore. So you're fighting Volkanovski. And what do you do with Volk? All right, Volkanovski's going to want to stick and move. Okay, so Lopes is going to have to be able to cut off the octagon and not follow him. We seen it last night with the Josh Emmett and Lerone Murphy fight. We've seen it. Emmett looking for that one big power shot, and a lot of people said Lerone was running. He was not running. He was using footwork, whether you like it or not. It's what he was doing. Wasn't allowing Emmett to land a big shot. So, also, it's on Emmett for not having a better repertoire in his striking. That's the reality. So you got to cut the octagon off for to not allow Volkanovski to use his side-to-side movement, because that's what he does. He did it very well when he was very compromised against Topuria. He was landing big shots, decent shots, not getting connected on, and then Topuria made a master adjustment, and he has the power to shut the lights out on Volkanovski. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to do that, nor have the power to do it. And so again, so where does that leave Diego Lopes? So you got to cut the octagon off. You can't follow him. You can't throw one shot at a time. You got to throw in combinations. Now, don't expect the first one to land, but the third one may. You know what I mean? It's because Volkanovski is gonna. If you go in there thinking, okay, I'm gonna find the shot, I'm gonna march forward, I will find it, without doing the other steps, you're not gonna beat Volkanovski. You're just not gonna beat him. That's the reality. Okay, so Volkanovski, what does he need to do? You know, use his jab, his leg kicks are a big thing for his leg kicks. Use your teeps maybe to try to keep that distance a little bit. I would suspect the kicks could be an issue because of the grappling. I think Lopes has a really good grappling. We've seen if Brian Ortega couldn't submit Volkanovski, Diego Lopes sure as hell ain't submitting Volkanovski. I'm sorry to tell you, but you know, just don't be in one place. That's the biggest thing for Volkanovski. Don't move in on a straight line. Don't be in the same place. Don't throw naked leg kicks or head kicks or body kicks. You set things up. You know, and also weather the storm. Understand early is going to be tough. Understand there might be some controversy early. There might be some adversity is what I meant. Early. God damn. But I think Volkanovski gets it done. I think Volkanovski will be champion again. I think Lopez's best shot is in the first 2 rounds. And I just see Diego Lopes marching forward, cutting the octagon off well, but Volkanovski using the leg kicks and the teeps. Mainly the teeps and all this stuff, but I think the leg kicks as this fight continuously goes, unless Volkanovski gets finished, those leg kicks are going to be crucial for Volkanovski. So I like Volkanovski. I think he gets a finish in the 4th or the 5th round. It's going to be a good day. Now, again, even if Diego Lopes loses this fight, it doesn't really hurt him per se, because Volkanovski's 36, will be 37 this year. We have a lot of time left with Diego Lopes. We don't have a ton of time left with Alexander Volkanovski. That's the reality. I expect a masterful performance by Alexander Volkanovski, and that's who I think is going to win. As always, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know who you're picking. Peace.